The Moritz Dragon. Let's talk about it. Now, this is a single dynamics driver that's coming from a new company that actually has been around for a while. They're kind of rebranding themselves and doing some different style IEMs. This is a $629 single dynamic driver, and it's a very interesting V-shaped set. Let's start by talking about the build quality and comfort of this beautiful IEM. This is the outside case. I really like it. It has a nice design and is really fun. It has a nice set of accessories, some nice tips on a nice little metal plaque, a cable with 3 different connectors you can use with a nice Pelican case. Pelican cases are kind of standard. It has a nice little branding on it and it is very comfortable here. You can see here it has a little tie that you can put on it or keep off depending on what you want to do with your Pelican case. Now the cable is nice. It is a silver cable. It is very thin, which is kind of typical of many silver cables. And it is a nice feeling cable. It has a nice Y split. It's again, it's nice feeling. Its chin slider stays in place. It's a light cable, but it is a little bit thin and a little bit tangle free for those that might be worried about that. And again, you can see kind of the coloring of where you can put each side of this into your IEM on this. And again, it's a nice little IEM cable, but nothing too exciting. The fit and comfort of this IEM shell is nice. I like the gold nozzle. I think it looks pretty. I mean, it fits in ear well. It doesn't have an exceptional, amazing fit. It is a little bit, but it's small, it's snug. It doesn't have a huge wing, but it's a nice little tiny wing. And overall, it's just a nice little set with kind of a purple hue to it. So it has a very epic and gorgeous look to it that I think is unique and fun at this price point. It makes it a different IEM that is extra enjoyable. And you can take a look at the shell here. It's almost like a wooden, almost like a fire, like a purple fire with kind of a brown to it. So it's a nice shell and I like it a lot. So how would I describe the sound of this guy? It's a very strong, fun sounding IEM. And it has some faults that we'll kind of get into. It's very V-shaped, which means that it has a lot of bass. And it has a lot of upper mids, which could be for some and not for others. It's overall a nice, fun, dynamic driver. But it doesn't, maybe not what I would call tonally correct for everything that we have. Has a few minor issues that I want to show to you guys, and then we'll go from there. I wanted to take a moment and show you the screen of their site of where you can buy it. This is the only place I know that where you can buy this IEM, so you can see some of the things you have here. It has a 19 ohm impedance, really good sensitivity, very easy to drive, 2-pin cable. They also sent me out the Moritz Paradise, which is an 8-driver IEM as well, and I like it a lot. They also have a third model, the Gloria, which they did not send me. I don't know of anyone who's had it. So there you go. The Moritz Dragon graph. Let's look at this guy. It's a nice looking graph. And if we normalize this around 500, you'll notice a few things. It has a lot, and I mean a lot of bass. It is a very bassy boy, and it hits your bass needed targets extremely well. Now, in this region, in this upper mids region, it has some kind of quirky things that I kind of want to talk about. Sometimes people will find this to be a little bit sharp, a little bit sibilant, a little bit too V-shaped. And a lot of people will like this region a little bit kind of tamed off. Like you can kind of see my target right here, that it looks a little bit off in that regards. Let's look at a few other graphs and other IEMs. And before we do that, let's look at the other Moritz IEM we have. And this is the Paradise. You'll notice it has a very similar shape to it. I like the Paradise, but it does have some switches and I want to review it right. So it'll probably be reviewed in about a week. So look forward to that on channel, but it is a little bit more expensive as well. Let's get into some other ones first. Now, the first one I want to compare this to is the Scarlet Mini. Now, I like the Scarlet Mini. I think it's a good set, but I think it slams incredibly hard. It starts its bass very high and goes extremely high. It's almost like a meme set, and it can be a little bit too much at times, having almost like a U presentation with a ton of air, a ton of upper mids, and a ton of bass. I like the Dragon better, and I think it's a better all-arounder than that, but I think it could be close for some. I think, the bass on the Scarlet Mini, while bassy, it is almost a, like, ludicrous speed style bass, and for some people, it might drive you a little bit off, and I think the Dragon does some things better in many areas. Another one to look at is the Maestro Mini. I mean, the Maestro Mini, I think some people could like, but for me, it had this huge kind of 5K peak and a ton of treble, and it just didn't hit me with the simplistic nature of it. Like, a lot of times when we look at graphs, it only gives you maybe 40 to 60% of the information that you're going to get from listening to an IEM yourself. It gives you a lot of idea of tone and what an IEM can be. For me, the Maestro Mini was way too much energy at 4K, which, for me, it felt like a lot of harshness and didn't really sound right. I didn't really get why people liked it. The Dragon just has a nice, more even tone to me, and I like it more. Now, one I wanted to show you is the Annihilator, like my favorite set. Like, these kind of trade blows in a lot of different ways, but you'll notice right around 2.5K to about 8K, there's a ton of different region. Like, this has a lot more air and treble. You'll notice, as the Moritz Dragon has a ton more of this mid-treble kind of region. It's a bit much for me, and it makes it that, again, it could come across a little bit piercing or too V-shaped. I wanted to show you some other V-shaped sets to kind of help you get an idea of what these might look like. If we look at Jay's Estrella, now a lot of people have attacked Jay's Estrella. I like Jay's Estrella, and I like the Dragoon, but they're both a little bit of specialists, like when you want to listen to certain songs. Now, Jay's Estrella, I think, has better treble extension and kind of a better overall tonality to it. Whereas the Dragon has a little bit more of a boombastic sense to it. I mean, they sound completely different in ear, and they're different IEMs. But what I'm trying to tell you is if you're not a fan of Jay's Estrella because it's too V, the Dragon would be along that same kind of a plane. Now, we look at something like, I wanted to share some neutral sets to see how much they differ, like the Mega 5 EST. This is the regular edition. You can tell how much less treble and mid-treble region it has. It's a really nice dip there, and it really adds to a lot. It has a little bit better treble extension here, and it does a lot of things really well. The High Senior Mega 5 EST, to me, if you're not sure what to try in the hobby, you want to try something around this $550 or $600 price point, I think the High Senior Mega 5 EST is something well to consider. They both use the exact same cases, and they both have a lot of good qualities about them. But if you're looking for a neutral set with great details, the High Senior Mega 5 EST would be it. That's what many people new to the hobby might find more enjoyable. But if you tried the High Senior Mega 5 EST and you thought it was boring or drab, kind of like I do, the Dragon presents a very bombastic, fun change, and it is going to sound awesome and epic, and it does the bass notes so right. Another one to show you is the Afu P7. Like, I like neutral sets. You can tell, like, there's a lot of similar characteristics. There's a little bit of a scoop mids here in this upper mid-range region. There's a little bit less bass in the P7. I like the P7 a lot. I'll be doing a review around the 11th of it when it actually officially comes out. But it's a cheaper set that some might like. But this is a neutral set, a lot like the High Senior Mega 5 EST bass. And so what I'm trying to say is that there are different styles of tuning, and the Dragoon is a V-shape, much like Jay's Estrella, or something more akin to that than something like these last two IEMs. Now, another one to think about is the Da Cinco. Now, the Da Cinco is known to be a bassy boy. It's one of those clinical approved IEMs, and a lot of people like it. It's good. You'll notice a lot of energy here. I mean, I like the Da Cinco. The Da Cinco is cheaper. I could see people liking it. It does have a few coercion problems, and to me, it just doesn't have that epic sound that you want from a dynamic driver. It has some kind of, I don't know, some kind of cluttered, I don't know, like plankton style stuff that some people have heard call it, and that upper air. Whereas the Morbids it just sounds really rich and organic and simple. There's something about the Dragon that I feel is a little bit more of a romantic sound. Like if you're a fan of the Da Cinco and you want to try something a little different, I think the Dragon could be a really good pick for you. Another one to show you. I want to show you some budget picks. So in case people are worried, like, oh man, this Dragon is way too expensive, Jadis. Why are you giving us all this stuff? Look, this guy right here, the CCA Hydro. You can probably get it on AliExpress for around, I don't know, probably $80 here in a few weeks. But you'll notice their tune is very similar. The Hydro, I mean, you might even like the Hydro better. I think the Dragon's a better set, but I can really see why people like the CCA Hydro. The CCA Hydro is a beautiful set that does a lot of things really, really well. And it also has tuning switches if that's something you're into. Another one what people like is the Super Mix. I feel for me, it kind of faded off, and you can notice a lot of similar trends. The Dragon has a little bit more bass than that, but they have about that same upper mids presence region. They both trade blows and do certain things better. I think, again, the Dragon, kind of like how I feel about the Da Cinco, it has an epic, dynamic feel to it. And again, it's, I can't tell you, I just love dynamic drivers. Like a single great dynamic driver, it's hard for me not to love a single dynamic driver. There's just so much cohesion, and it just works for me so well. Another one to look at, like an even cheaper version, is the Keyfine Delci. This is a very V-shaped set. I think people might like this one as well. Now, I like the Dragon, I think, but the Dragon's more of a specialist fun set. I personally would do some EQ, and can tell this EQ lowers this bass region just a tiny bit. It also kind of raises this upper mid-range to presence region just a tiny bit, and it lowers this upper mid-treble region quite a bit. And I think this EQ, if you guys want to try just EQing to my target, could help this IEM sound a little bit more airy, a little bit less fatiguing in this upper sibilance region. But overall, the Dragon is a very fine set that does a lot of things absolutely fantastically. Okay, let's rank the Dragon up. I like this set a great deal. I'm giving it an 8.5 overall, putting it in the A category. It has really great bass. Its mids they could be better. They could be improved. There's a little bit of thinness in them. And its highs are just okay for its price. I think they could be a little bit lacking. The image is fine, but not great. Has fantastic note weight, fantastic slam. Its resolution and micro details aren't great, but it does have a wide open soundstage. So those people that like soundstage are really gonna like the Dragon. I think that's one of the things it does well is slam and soundstage, and it's just a really fun set. It reminds me a lot of the Theaudio Origin, but a lot cheaper and a lot different style with a way better fit and a lot smaller. It's a solid set, and it does a lot of things very, very well. You know, single dynamic drivers are always hard to kind of sell because you can find single dynamic drivers for $30. But ones that have this cohesion and this beauty and just an overall all-around package, I think sometimes it's hard to find. I really like this guy. I think they did a really great job with this, and I think it has this fun, rich, amazing sound that I can fully give you guys a good recommend. Is this going to be one of those IEMs that people are going to find great value of, and that I think people that want other sets should go for? Probably not. I think there's other sets that you might enjoy a little bit better. This is really more for people that want a specialist, want a very strong V, maybe kind of like an old style V style set. I think this is going to hit that itch for people. I like it a lot. It sounds fantastic in ear, and it is super fun. I think they did a bang up job, and I absolutely love this IEM, but I wanted to express my cautions to people so you guys can have a really good idea of what this set is. It's a fun set. It's not a neutral set. It's not something that hits the new JM1 target that everybody's raving about, but it is a epic set that I do not think will disappoint. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. If you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments below. I'm also doing a short head-fi review for this at the same time. If you guys want to read that and check that out as well, you can. Again, have a great day. Hopefully we'll see you again later. Bye-bye. You're still here. It's over. Go home. Go watch another IEM video. It's done. That's the entire video. What more do you want?